army. Now they've, they're basically YouTube internet comedians. Derek Harrison and Jeremy McKenzie.
Right.
They were massively
Right.
popular. If they were never messed with or censored, they'd probably be one of the top YouTube channels in the world. They would have millions of followers, but they keep getting smacked down. Well, they started this thing called Diagolon, okay? And Diagolon is a fictional country that runs across North America from Alaska down to
Right.
Texas, cutting a big swath through the middle of basically conservative states where they would want to separate off from anybody liberal, right? Or all these, pro
Sure.
open borders, LGBT, critical race theory, all of that.
Right.
And I was talking to
Sure.
Jeremy because what happened was the Canadian media went crazy on these guys. Like they're trying to set Jeremy up for all kinds of charges. Their anti-hate.ca is the kind of like the Canadian Southern Poverty Law Center. If you're listening in the United
Right.
States, they're constantly attacking them.
Right.
The mainstream media is putting out articles claiming that these guys, these internet comedians and truth seekers in Canada, are the ones that caused the farmer rebellion in the Netherlands, which is such a ridiculous claim on its face.
Uh,
But I was talking to Jeremy,
uh,
and he said I was racking my brains because we've got RCMP and CSIS following us around, spying on us. I see the truck on the street all the time. He said I was trying to figure out what it was that made them come at us so hard, and he said I finally figured it out. It was the Alberta leaving Canada thing because of the money and the wealth that Alberta
uh,
has and generates. Canada will do
oh
any
yeah.
dirty thing to keep
Uh,
this part of the country, of the Confederation, I should say, as part of Canada. And he figures that's what it was because when they started going down that road, that's when the heat really came down from the feds.
oh, can you imagine? Because we've talked about this so many times with the Alberta 51 movement. People back east don't think it can happen. But I'll tell you what, when it does, they're going to be freaking out. And that this is a total indication of right there. When it hits them, where, well, wait a minute. Do we really need Alberta oil revenues in order to run Canada? You betcha. You betcha. I'm saying, well, why didn't you guys start talking about this 20, 30 years ago? So if you think that there's a hissy fit going on right now against these guys, that breaks my heart. I don't like to see artists and comedians and stuff censored and doxxed and that nonsense. That's nonsense. We grew up in the 60s, 70s laughing at each other with Saturday Night Live and all those awesome comedians. But I think that I really think that there is going to be a line drawn here where people are getting sick of this, Mike. That's the common theme. People are getting sick of this, and the judiciary, I think, is actually kicking in, doing their job a little bit. We're seeing some, the Kyle Rittenhouse wins his lawsuit, the View having to apologize, financial settlements. People are running their mouth off left and right with no accountability and no responsibility. So hopefully it's changing a bit. That's the old glass is half full again, but hopefully it's changing a bit, just with the advent of just people being more open-minded and open to multiple news sources. So there you go. It's a crazy world out there, Mike.
It's pretty fascinating though too. I mean, look, everybody that was ever born came and proceeded forth from the mind of God. I firmly believe that. And to be
Right.
chosen or picked from the foundation of the world to be here for this time, what a big honor, Greg, isn't it?
Uh, and the blessings of unintended consequences. You've mentioned many times that your church, Mike, was born of the COVID disaster.
That's when God
Indeed,
decided to
great things.
start it, yeah.
Yep.
Like things around me
So
were
great.
horrible, but things were better here than they had been in many, many, many years.
Oh, I'll tell you, and I just really do hope. Like the theme is ongoing for me. I just hope that we are indeed pulling together as a culture that I believe that we are. And we're going to see more in with elections, and just hopefully people coming together a little bit of common sense, just common sense. And indeed, I hope it's a trend. I hope we see some of this nonsense, this political correctness really go away. I really do. Because I do believe, I always believe, that 80% of us are just the same practical, pragmatic folks that are common sense. We want health for our kids and safe families and safe communities. And unfortunately, the 20%, they're all the Karens out there. They get all the mic time, Mike, that 20%. So hopefully the 80% of practical common sense folks are really going to pull together, which I think they are. And I think we'll see it. I hope we see it in the next election you guys have up there, pray tell. But you'll see it in 2022, and we'll see it in 2024, Mike. Whenever you bring up Alberta 51 and just the freedom concepts and stuff, I always think of Gordon Kessler. Who's now in Arizona. He lives down in Arizona. Folks up there might know Gordon, of course. He was the first duly elected Alberta separatist back in 1982. Yeah. And Gordon's become almost a hero of mine, because these are the guys, and they're around, Mike, that you see him in Gordon Kessler, you see him in Sheriff Lamb, you see him in Carrie Lake, you see him in Mike Filip, you see them in Greg Meakin. That there is I believe, a growing leadership and momentum to getting us back to normal, back to more common sense.
Greg, we got 1 minute left. Let everybody know where they can find